Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and hope you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka Blitz. Oh, wow. This is a video that's been a long time coming, and it's something that I've been working on for quite a bit. I get asked lots of questions about gameplay and styles of gameplay and things you need to know to do well in Blitz, and just heaps and heaps of questions, and that's a really good resource to have people always asking me about those kind of things because it gives me ideas for new videos. And this is something that I've been wanting to touch on for a while, namely Brawling. Now, Brawling is not just a light tank driving really, really fast around a non-turreted TV. It's all this kind of stuff where you're within 40 or 50 meters of other tanks. You've got to make lots of decisions and you've got to be able to do things in real time with situational awareness. And what I basically wanted to do was look at a whole bunch of situations where this occurs and figure out what the commonalities were, what the things were, the common denominators, the things that kept happening time and again, and break them down into hopefully three main parts. Now, this is a little bit ambiguous because I think there are more than three parts, but I did kind of distill it down into three basic, simple things. And the last one is craft, which is, you know, a lot more than a simple thing, but we'll get to that. So anyway, this is for those of you who are kicking off, starting out, even for those of you who have been playing for a while. This could be something that you find interesting just as a theoretical exercise, however you like to look at it. But brawling within the game, fighting in close proximity to other tanks, why it works sometimes and why it doesn't work other times is irrelevant. These are just the things that I think are important for that activity. Now, the basic rules that not rules even, but the basic guidelines I thought were damage for distance, which is pretty self-explanatory, but we are going to work on that quite a bit, and you're going to see me do that a lot in this video. And these aren't all winning occasions, by the way. Isolating targets, another massive thing whenever you're brawling. And finally, the craft of it, the things you can do in your tank to increase your chances of actually winning and surviving. So what I did was I took a heap of gameplay and footage and found examples and isolated them so that we can look through and figure out what's going on. Now, the important thing to remember with this is it's kind of like the free expression part of Blitz. It's where you really want to be as loose and easy as you possibly can be and do all these different kinds of things. Like you can see here, I'm side hugging and then I'm going to face hug and try and put the gun mantlet or gun into the gun of the M48A pattern so that I can get another bounce. And he's trying to hit my hatch while things move and he gets all panicked, and that's a lot of stuff going on. And to get to that point in time, you're going to have to play a lot of games. There's no other way around it. But the simple rules don't change. Now, I'm going to show you the most obvious one. This is the prime example, the classical example of a brawl of a light versus a non-turreted TD. And this is my good mate Swiss Cheezel. He was pushing at me because we were in Discord doing count-ins and we're having a great time. You're going to see this is the basic thing. If you are in any kind of tank against a non-turreted TD, you want to get behind them, even if it costs you a hit, because once you are behind them, you control the engagement. And then all you have to really do is not be in the way of the pointy thing. Now, there is a lot more nuance to it than that, but for all that, you really do have to control the engagement from behind the gun. Now, that's the craft, okay? Side hugging, face hugging, circling behind the gun, tracking all the time, like always hitting drive wheels. These are the things that you have to be able to do to actually do it effectively. But there are some simple rules that just come into it regardless. Damage for distance. Think of it like this. If both tanks have 1,000 damage per minute, how, when you're in a brawl, are you able to win if you have basically the same hit points and the same damage? Well, what you want to do is you want to shoot the other guy and then stop him from shooting you. Now, there's various ways of doing it, but one of the things you can do is use rocks like this just to get around. Now, I die here because there's a big bunch of other red tanks coming, but I'm able to get all my shots off and then lessen the amount of time that this Object 140 is able to put into me because I'm driving around and around and around and around a big bloody rock. And given enough time, I certainly feel like I could have finished him off. That's damage for distance. I'm going to show you another example. This is a T-54E1 pushing up on me. I know he's coming. What I'm going to do is make him come around that corner, and I've pulled all the way back here, and I'm just waiting for him to pop up. There he is. Now he's pushing, and I'm going to make sure that he pays for this distance, for getting to me, for getting to the engagement with damage. And that means by the time he finishes his clip, I'll be reloaded on my clip, and then I'll simply kill him. So he gets 3 shots. And instead of going 3 shots for 3 shots, we go 4 shots for 3 shots, and we wipe his hit point pool out. Again, I'm on 627 hit points. There's a bat chat there. Now, this is also a little bit of craft because he's not going to go for a reload when he should. But there you go. We get him coming in. We know he's coming. We're making sure that as he comes and approaches, we're always in the lead, and he's chasing me. That's fair enough. So I'm very much picking the rules of the engagement. We take a shot. We get a bounce. All good. And then on the reload, he's got 1 shot left. And unfortunately for him, he hasn't gone for a full reload. I am simply just breaking up time. So all I really need to do is take that 1 shot, and then we get a full clip into him again. And we're unlucky. We don't quite get the kill, which is just unfortunate because, you know, you'd love to. But for all that, we managed to take a full hit point bat chat down to 25 hit points, despite the fact that, yeah, we're in a lot of trouble. Now, so you've got damage for distance. What about a plain old COD? Well, COD stands for Circle of Death. The important part to remember in a COD is that it's not just driving around in a circle. You'll see, I'm not really worried about how fast I can get around him. I'm just worried about being somewhere else that the gun isn't pointing at. And again, I'm going to push up straight through here at pace, into the back of the Tiger II, then around the AMX 5120, and I'm going to stop. There is no point driving all the way around. I don't want to drive all the way around. I square him off, I get behind him, and then I just keep backing around so that the gun is always pointed in the other direction. Now, you can't always do that. You can do your best, but you can't always do that. You just try, okay? And these are all about situations like I've had to push here. I know that every tank is spotted on the map. I know where these two are, and they're holding up our entire team. And no one's going to push forward. And even though I'm in a PTA, someone's going to do it or we're going to lose. Now, when we get round here, I harp on about this all the time, but watch, I'm going to hit every shot into the drive wheel of this T-54E1. And you're going to see him take damage from other people because I'm tracking him constantly. There we go. He's going to get hit again. There's 264. Then we reach out. We're going to track him one more time. And then someone else is going to finish him off for us. When you're brawling, when all this is happening, if you can keep tanks still, that is excellent. And if you can use the rest of your team, that's even better. I'm here on my own. I've got 2 people pushing up with me. iRazor is in the T-54E1. And you can also see there's a conch coming around here. I'm not going to YOLO around the corner. I'm going to wait. And using your brain, and this is why I think it's such a free expression of Blitz. It's such a lovely part of Blitz, and that you don't really get nearly as much in the PC variant or in many games at all, is the constant pressure and action that occurs. We try and track him. We get his track, but don't break it. We don't get the drive wheel. So we're not taking any damage, and we've just used our team effectively. And then we're going to come around here and put another shot in. And then we're going to get the kill shot as well. And it's all because, basically, we're using our brain. Okay, you've got to think your way through this stuff. And it's kind of a rule of thumb. If you are worried, then just stop. Now, talking of stopping, see that Yag? He's driving towards me right there. I'm going to pause that. If you're brawling in a TD or a medium, and you're against a medium or a TD, and you don't have a turret on that tank destroyer, you have to trade damage for distance. That Yag is pushing towards me. That is a massive, massive issue, because he is going to lose all his hit points, and it's going to be by a slim margin. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try and track him. I always shoot for the tracks. It just takes that extra little bit of time, and when they're having to hit the button on a track, it's a time that they're not tracking you with their gun. They're not keeping you in line so they can kill you. It's also an opportunity for you to possibly get past them altogether if they're not repaired. They can't repair their track. Basically, if he's driving towards me, then it's a bad idea. I am able to narrow the distance, which means there's less chance that I take damage on the way in. And that's exactly what happens. And I think it must have been very, very close for his reload. We're going to see here, I'm driving directly towards him, just looking for a track shot. I get it. I'm not really worried about doing damage. All I want to do is get past that track. And you can see there, I just get round him, and then he's dead. That's it. It's all over. I've isolated the target. I'm worried about the rest of his team hitting me, and that's why I'm not backing up all the way, and I'm trying to keep him between me and any possible incoming. And I'm actually less worried about killing him. I've got Swiss there than I am about just not dying. Like you saw in the M46 on Black Goldville a couple of clips ago, here's an FV215B. I don't have to kill him. When you're brawling and you're in close proximity, like he's what, 70 meters away, max 60 meters, I just have to keep him stuck there. I give him a little bit of tail, keep him interested, and then someone turns up and shoots him. Really simple stuff. So damage for distance is really important. Isolating your targets so they're the only ones that can hit you. This ST1, we've talked about circle of deathing. We've talked about getting behind people, isolating targets. This is perfect as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to run along the edge of these rocks here and minimize the amount of time he has to put a shot into me. That means I'm not taking a shot right away, driving directly towards him. See, so I'm driving through cover. It means the engagement doesn't start till I'm right next to him. That lowers his potential damage over time. So the most he can get into me is one shot as I approach, and then he starts reloading, but I'm already right on top of him. And then I'm going to basically just do the whole get to the other side of his gun. Now, I do stuff it up a little bit, and you'll see where. But for the most part, this is a very much by the numbers engagement with a good DPM tier 10 medium against a slow, relatively slow tier 9 heavy tank. I'm going to take all his hit points, and we come out of there very, very aggressively. So he gets a shot into us. We get another into him. Now, he got a shot at 4 minutes 38. He's not going to get a shot for another 35 seconds. So, and that's where the engagement's won and lost. And you can see I'm not trying to just drive around in a circle for no good reason. I am trying to stay on the other side of that gun. And although I could have gone around right here and got between him and the rock, it would have been better. Because it takes him so long to get to me because I've stayed away from his gun, he only gets the one more shot in the whole engagement. So he gets 2 shots in the engagement. He takes under 800 hit points off me, and I take 1,800 hit points off him. I mean, that's pretty much a great deal as far as I'm concerned. Again, I'm in a non-turreted TD. I am not driving towards that T-54. I back up. I know he's going to try and get a shot at me, and then I'm just dragging the shot out of him. I'm going to drive forward now because he's on a reload and I have one in the clip, and he can't afford to take another shot. The next shot he takes is going to be his death. And then I get creative. I entice him to go around that, and I immediately overturn because he's trying to get around me behind me, and we take him out. The next guy I drive towards and I push on, but again, I stop. I don't let him get easily behind me. I stop above him and put a shot in, and then just wait. I just wait. He drives away. We end up killing him. Anyway, onwards and upwards. So, there are simple things you can do every time. Stay away from the gun. Never, if you've got an advantage in terrain or you've got an obstacle behind you and it lets you put shots in and they're keen to get stuck into you, and you'll often find this at the end of a game like this where there's 2 tanks and they're pushing up and they've been kind of camping at the back, and you're jiggling and wiggling, and just it becomes very difficult. But at the same time, there are things you can do. Like you can isolate targets. You can try and use the E100 to stop the 183 from hitting you, and then you keep going around and you get beside the 183 so that he can't actually put a shot into you easily, and you're trying to actually get him to shoot you on the tracks or something crazy, and you get a little bit lucky, and that's what it's all about. I mean, These things don't always work, and you've seen clips here where I'm dying, and you're going to see more clips where I'm dying. But you do your best, and it might mean that you only get one extra shot in. But for all that, like, if you get that extra shot in, that could be the difference between winning and losing a game. I mean, you see I'm moving backwards and forwards trying to keep the gun mantlet in front of the end of the gun. That's something that a lot of people don't do. You saw me do it with the E5 earlier and the M48 there. If you can keep the gun mantlet in front of their gun because they're zoomed in and they're like looking in a zoomed in mode, then you'll be apples. And again, damage for distance. I then go away from the target. So if he wants to get to me, he has to trade distance. And he gets caught looking at someone else, and then we clear him. Isolating targets is the other massive thing. I pushed up. I'm really, really aggressive on this map generally. I like to push up to this area here. It's very, very handy. There's an IS-5 there who doesn't have the gun depression. I don't have the gun depression to get him, but he's really, really keen to get to me. And something that's been happening so much this month is everyone tries to kill me. Like, this is... My average damage at the moment is so low for where it normally is for like a tier 8 average damage, but my win rate's still running around 70% because I'm getting so YOLO'd, and it actually probably helps you win games, but it's harder to do damage. Like, it's pretty mad. This IS-5 is going to push me. There's a scent behind him. I'm going under here. I'm waiting for the IS-5 to push around, and then I'm going to isolate the scent so I can clear the scent out before the IS-5 can get back around, because he's quite slow in traverse and he doesn't have a whole lot of acceleration, and that allows me to deal with the scent while he's still coming. And you can see I'm going to keep pushing up. I'm just going to keep him. I'm totally aware at all times of where he is. I'm driving away from where that IS-5 would be, and then keep that hill between me and him and the guys over there who are sniping. We start putting shots into him. We're ignoring the IS-5 again. We've isolated away from him. He's dead. And now we can move on with our business. I know this is not easy to do, and I know I'm talking about it like it's easy to do, but I'm just talking about the things I'm doing. It won't always work. It won't always come off. It quite often doesn't work, and this is an instance where it doesn't come off. We get an extra couple of shots in here. That's all because we are being really, really sensible, but we get pushed on, and it doesn't make any difference in the end. That was a bad error. I thought I could get that E100. He took a bit of a shot before the aim circle on his tank was fully decreased, but at the same time, I was very, very close to him, so there's no chance that he was going to miss it. The waffle pushes in. All I'm trying to do here is just angle up and stay hull down and give him the best part of my armor profile, and I do. So that's all you can do in this instance. Like, this is what I'm saying. You just angle. If you get the bounce, you get the bounce. And if you don't get the bounce and you're able to get another shot in, then you get another shot in. And, you know, and that one shot we bounced is probably, and two shots we bounced is why we get this last shot in. And does it help? Well, no, in this case it didn't. We still lost, but that's all you're doing. You're just trying to put the most damage you can possibly put out before the other guy does. And if they're already locked into someone, just shoot them and try and stop them from doing too much damage. Like, I'm at the back, so it means that this guy will not push back past this T110 E5. If he does, he's just going to get nutted, and we finish him off anyway. And the E5 does a good job, pushes up and around. There you go, guys. To reiterate, one final time. Damage for distance, always. Just because you're angry at someone, you don't have to drive towards them. Really. Like, that's 101. Isolate your target so that basically, you know, they're the only one you're dealing with, and they can only shoot you, you know, when you're in front of the gun. So stay behind the gun. No problems there. And then as you get better, you'll learn the craft of it. The side hugging, the shoving your gun mantlet in front of other targets, face hugging if you're a big heavy tank like an IS-7 or a Mouse or an E100, circle of deathing, getting behind people, constantly shooting drive wheels. These are the little bits and pieces that make things work. Always angle your tank too. Yeah, I've saved all my HP here. So I'm just I'm happy to kind of spot and just put some shots in, be a little bit lazy, but I get some insane bounces. But I get them because a lot of people don't realize this. The FV4202 has the best upper glacis in tier 10. Seriously. The upper glacis on this thing is an auto bounce zone on a flat surface. It's like 300 millimeters of armor with even the slightest bit of angle. It's insanely effective armor on this thing. And you can, if you can put them in a situation where they're going to hit your upper glacis, you'll get so many bounces with this tank. I'm doing really, 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 really well in the FV at the moment. I can't put a finger on it. I don't know why, but it's just really good. Brawling. Hope you liked it. I certainly liked it. I love brawling. I love playing mediums. I love playing lights. Again, that upper glacis is just hilarious. The turret's a joke. So if he had hit me in the turret, I would have copped it. But, you know, I've got full hit points. Swiss is pushing in a Death Star. This was all over like about a minute ago. So that's it. Try to do your best. Play a lot of games in mediums and lights, and you'll get better at it. Always go for drive wheels. You know, it just helps so much keeping them immobile. Not only does it help, it also makes them blow kits. So until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.